Before I start, I'd like to ask everyone this one question. When was the last time you saw a movie in theaters? As the COVID-19 pandemic continues to rage on, that question grows harder and harder to answer every single day. I myself have my own personal connection with the movie industry and cinema in itself. When I was younger, I grew up watching cowboy and Indian movies with my dad. And as I grew older, I grew a new appreciation for the art of movies and the art of movie production. Today, I would like to educate everyone in this room right now on a small portion of the challenges that the movie industry is facing nowadays, such as release dates being delayed and pushed back, whether it is movie studios finding different outlets for their movies to be released, and a look into the future to see how this COVID-19 pandemic will affect the long-term effects of the movie industry. But before we can start talking about the future, we need to take a look at the past and the present. Movie studios plan out the movie release schedules years in advance to help accommodate for budgeting and to help actors schedule with other pictures. But this COVID-19 pandemic threw a wrench into movie studios' plans that they never would have predicted. Some movie studios, such as 20th Century Fox, has delayed some of their major motion pictures, such as the next installment in the James Bond series, No Time to Die, originally slated for November 20th of 2020, being pushed to April 9th, 2021. That is only one example of movies that have been plagued with delays. Another example, Black Widow, originally slated for May 1st, 2020, being pushed back to May 7th, 2021. However, some movie studios have not gone to the inevitable delays that some movie studios have been dealing with. Some movie studios have opted to use the art of streaming to help release their movies. Some movie studios have opted to release their movies on on their exclusive streaming service websites, or have opted to release their movies video on demand, such as Disney opting to release Mulan on their own premium Disney Plus section. That would cost $30 to buy. Originally slated for March 9th, 2020, they then pushed Mulan to September 4th, 2020 to release it on Disney Plus. But the movie that started the surge of movie studios opting to release their movie on video on demand would, not comically, be Trolls World Tour. Who would have thought? Originally slated for March 11th, 2020, Universal opted to wait a month before the month after the movie was originally slated to release it on video on demand. However, that decision was not met with smiles as the movie would advertise. It was instead, that decision was thus hated by the movie theater industry in itself. Companies like AMC and Regal thinking that them releasing their movies on demand would stop some of the revenue coming into the movie theater industry. And that brings me to my final point about the long-term effects that this pandemic will leave on the movie industry. Most movie theater companies such as Regal and AMC have closed stores across the country to help make up for the lost revenue that these companies lost during the COVID-19 pandemic when all movie theaters were closed. And movies that were slated to release later in the distant future of 2021 and 2022 are further delayed to be determined dates to help accommodate for their production being halted because of quarantine and stay-at-home orders. Now, in conclusion, the movie theater industry right now and the movie industry in itself have been faced with challenge after challenge after challenge due to this pandemic. They've stated they have dealt with release schedules being pushed back to who knows what time. But however, they have found a way to release those movies to the public so the public may enjoy those movies using streaming services to their advantage and using video on demand. But with all the positivity of their movies still being released, there is still an uncertainty about what the future might hold for the movie industry. Thus, a question being brought up is, will movie theaters survive due to the COVID-19 pandemic? I know I personally will continue to go to movie theaters just for that experience of seeing a movie on that big screen, and I hope you do too.